Hey, what's up guys? Luke here today with a video review for you of the HTC Raider, which is an LTE 4G enabled smartphone that I've had for the past couple of weeks. Huge thank you to HTC and Paradigm PR for sending these out to review. I've been testing them on both the Rogers 4G network and the Bell 4G network, and this is my full review. First thing I want to talk about in the review is a device overview. So let's talk about the hardware you're going to find on the outside of the phone and the hardware and specifications you're going to find on the inside of the phone. The screen on it is a 4.5-inch QHD display with a 960 by 540 resolution. And so you guys don't have to Google QHD like I did. QHD means either quarter high definition or quadruple high definition resolution. In terms of the camera system on the Raider, you're going to find an 8 megapixel camera on the back that does 1080p video recording at 60 frames a second with a dual LED flash. On the front of the phone, you're going to find a 1.3 megapixel camera for video conferencing, Skyping, and any other sort of video application that you may use. Also on the front of the phone, you're going to find a large ear speaker, and down at the bottom, you're going to find 4 touch-tone buttons. A home button, a menu button, a back button, and an easy access search button. Now when you pick up the HTC Raider, you'll notice that it's made of 2 different materials. There's an outer plastic shell, and then the back battery door is made of metal. On the side of the phone, you're going to find a volume rocker for up and down volume controls. On the bottom, you're going to see a micro USB port for charging, syncing, and any other external applications you may use. At the top of the phone, you're going to see a 3.5mm headphone jack and your power sleep wake button. The HTC Raider comes with 16 gigabytes of internal storage, and that's expandable up to 32 gigs more with the micro SD slot. That pretty much wraps up the device overview and the specifications. Now let's get into the full review. In terms of hardware, as I said before, the Raider is primarily made up of 2 different materials, a plastic shell around the edges, and the back battery door is metal. I found the overall build quality of the HTC Raider to be quite impressive, and not at any point in time did I feel like it was a cheap phone. I actually really like how HTC made the back battery door metal, because that'll absorb heat from the battery so that your battery doesn't overheat. Compared to the iPhone 4S, it's a little bit thicker. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I've got a video monitor up there, but I'm not sure if you guys can see that. A little bit thicker, but in terms of the overall size, not just the thickness, the Raider is obviously much bigger because this is a 4.5-inch screen and the iPhone has a 3.5-inch screen. One thing I blatantly forgot to mention in my Jetstream review was the network, which is what these devices are flagship for. They're the 4G devices on both Bell and Rogers. Now, as I said before, I got lucky enough that HTC and Paradigm sent me one on both the Bell and Rogers 4G networks, so I got a little bit of time to test out both of the networks, their coverages, their speeds, and stuff like that. In terms of coverage, Rogers hands down blows Bell out of the park. I got 4G coverage on both phones downtown Toronto, but as soon as I went an hour out of the city, the only phone that I got 4G with was the Rogers phone. I got Bell HSPA with the other one. Network speeds actually really surprised me. I remember when 4G came out, everybody was like, how can you make 4G faster than 3G? What is this whole 4G thing? But after using both these phones on these 4G networks, I can tell you that 4G is so fast. High definition YouTube videos, Netflix movies, things like that loading in seconds. You really can notice a difference between 3G and 4G, and in most cases, I'd say it's almost as fast as Wi-Fi. Now let's talk a little bit about the screen and the speakers. The screen on the Raider is a 4.5-inch QHD display with a 960 by 540 resolution. Whenever someone saw me using this display, their first comment was, wow, that's a really big phone, but their second comment was, wow, that screen is beautiful. And the colors, the saturation, all the images that this phone displays are really crisp, and it's a really beautiful screen. HTC isn't really known for their crisp sound quality or their speakers in their phones. However, with this phone, I don't have anything bad to say about the speakers, but then again, I don't have anything good to say about the speakers either, other than that the volume level on the speakers is really low. And if you guys were wondering, the speaker on the phone is right here. There's a little mesh speaker right there, and you can pull the backplate off like this. Yeah, the speaker is right here, that silver part. The Raider is rocking a 1620 lithium-ion battery, and from using it day-to-day, 4G speeds, I noticed a little bit over a day of use, and that's with 4G turned on, Wi-Fi on for just searching for networks, brightness to auto, and then Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, all the little notifications running in the background. So your average user's use during the day. Overall, I'd say that the battery life on the Raider isn't the greatest, but I mean, that can be expected because I bet you 4G drains the battery like none other. As we talked about before, the camera system on the HTC Raider is a 8 megapixel camera on the back that does 1080p video recording at 60 frames a second, and also on the back you're going to see a dual LED flash. Here are some photos I've taken with the HTC Raider just around downtown Toronto, indoors, outdoors. If you'd like to see any of those photos, I'll post my Flickr link down in the description and I'll upload them to Flickr. The camera on the front of the phone is a 1.3 megapixel camera. It's no 5D, but it does its job. As I mentioned before in my Jetstream review, I think it's really cool that the HTC camera system not only contains environment settings like black and white, sepia, daylight, but it also has like beach, snow, candlelight, sports, and other action environments. Now this is a Google phone, so it will come with Android installed. It came with Android 2.3.4, and it's also an HTC phone as well, so it'll come with HTC Sense. A lot of people were really upset that it came with HTC Sense 3.0 and not 3.5, but that's really not a big deal to me. Another thing I mentioned in my Jetstream review that's about Android in general is that when you first start up an Android device, there is a lot of crapware installed. In fact, remember that 16 gigs of internal storage I told you had? After all the crapware is installed, you only have 8.6 gigabytes of space left. That's almost half the phone's memory used up before you've even put your first contact into it. And as you can imagine, as I was raving about the screen before, games like Angry Birds, Nova 2, and other games like that in the Android marketplace looked great, and with the 1.2 gigahertz CPU, they ran great on this. Final thoughts about the HTC Raider. I was a huge fan of the screen, as you guys probably know already. I also like the 8 megapixel camera on the back that does 1080p video recording, and I think my favorite feature about the Raider is the 4G network it's connected to. The speeds of 4G really blew me away. So guys, now you know what I think. What do you think about the HTC Raider? Were you looking at buying one before? Do you have one? How do you like it? If you do have one, what's your favorite feature about the phone? Anyways guys, that's it for me today. If you liked this video, which I hope you did, hit the like button down below, and if you really liked this video, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button above, because it keeps me putting more videos out to you. And on that note, my name is Luke DeMarco, and I will see you in the next video.